الله وبركاته إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن ونتوكل عليه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وقال تعالى أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب. Respected honorable brothers, respected listeners, first and foremost, I thank especially the ones that have come from far and wide. It's their mere love and muhabbat that brings them from great distance and to pay a visit here. So much so that I don't see many local brothers participating so much as I see the brothers coming from outside. Alhamdulillah, it is a great source of encouragement for me, and I appreciate and I'm grateful for their presence here to meet me. There's a lot of things that we can discuss, but just as a question, even in my class today upstairs, there was a lot of talk going on. There was a lot of talk about the recent events, and many youngsters are talking about it, that this is saying this, he's saying this, he's saying that, he's saying this. A lot of conspiracy theories are being discussed. A lot of different things are being discussed. So just to set the tone right, and make sure everyone understands that as far as our affiliation, connection with any radical ideologies, be it ISIS, whatever it may be, we have no affiliation with them. We don't share these radical ideas and so-called whatever is being shown, and it's a tragedy that happened in Paris, and we just pray that Allah Ta'ala keep everyone safe in this country, other countries, every country, and especially the Muslim countries, because they're facing this almost every single day. And no one knows about it, but they're facing this every single day. And obviously other places they make headlines, but what happens in Muslim countries, it's become a norm. So that's one thing that we do not share those mind, ideology, those thinking, radical ideologies, and we do not get engaged. We engage in more civil discussions and talks and methods and means, but nothing violent and nothing aggressive. That is not the teaching of Islam. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind, because the image of Islam is not being portrayed in a good way. The question that I want to begin with today is that, especially in the Muslim countries, or especially in Syria, where we find the refugee crisis, one of the questions is, why so many people are dying every single day? Why so many people are becoming orphans every day? Why are people losing their homes and their shelters and their mothers, their parents, their children? Why they're displaced? Why they don't have anything? And why is it? There's so many whys. And then the question also comes out, we say Allah is the greatest. So if they say Allah's name, and we also say that you pray to Allah, ud'uni astajib lakum, pray to Allah, Allah will accept your du'as and your prayers. So why is it that they're taking the name of Allah, and despite that you find them in this predicament and this crisis that they're going through? And this has become global now. So this is a big why question which comes into our mind. And it's one of those questions sometimes we don't like to ask. Sometimes as youngsters and children, they don't like to ask their parents. Sometimes we parents don't have any answers. So we simply say that, shut your mouth, don't talk like that. But it is one of those questions And it's just a simple question that will come into anyone's minds. Why is this happening? Why isn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helping them? This is the simple question that comes to our mind. There's so many ways of answering. First of all, this is not the first time that the ummah has experienced mass killing. This has happened before as well in the history. In Palestine, in many different places, it has happened in the past as well. Thousands of people lost, thousands of Muslims lost their lives as well. So this has happened in the past. In fact, even at the time of Banu Israel, it was actually worse. At the time of Ibrahim ﷺ and other prophets, it was bad as well. So this has happened in the past. That's one thing we need to keep in mind. The second thing we need to keep in mind is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. If we have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah will test our faith. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see how much conviction and faith do we have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you get two groups of people. One group of people are tested by loss, and one group of people are tested by gain. But both of them are tested. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions both of them in the Quran. So one group of people will lose and they will be tested. And one group of people, they will gain more and more and they will be tested. So let's speak about the people that will be gaining more and more and they're tested. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَإِذَا أَرَدْنَا أَن نُهْلِكَ قَرْيَةً أَمَرْنَا مُتْرَ فِيهَا فَفَسَقُوا فِيهَا فَحَقَّ عَلَيْهَا الْقَوْلُ فَدَمَّرْنَاهَا تَدْمِيرًا. The rich and the wealthy ones, Allah has mentioned this type of verse in various places. إِذَا أَرَدْنَا أَن نُهْلِكَ. When we intend to destroy a nation, then we tell the rich ones to straighten up, to fix themselves up, and don't become more arrogant. Like how Fir'aun did, like how Qarun did, like how Haman did, Namrud did, and the people that came at the time in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how they were arrogant. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Amaruna mutrafiha. Mutrif basically means affluent. In Arabic language, in English, mutrif, the word mutrif means affluent people. The people that live in luxury. Amaruna mutrafiha. We tell the affluent ones, the wealthy ones, that fix yourself up and make tawbah and connect yourself to your Lord. Because it is your Lord who has given you this. But nay, instead of connecting themselves to Allah, فَفَسَقُوا, they become even more arrogant. And they have more pride in them. Like we find example of Qarun, Allah mentions one example in the Quran. There are many examples that are given, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about Qarun as well. That Allah ta'ala told him exactly the same thing. But he says, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِي. So when Qarun was told to fix himself up, right, when the da'wat was given to him, what did he say? إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِي. I got all this wealth based on my credentials. Through my knowledge, through all my credentials that I had, you see this empire and you see all these treasures, you see everything here. So he simply said, it's because of me. It's not because of anyone. It's not because of Allah. So arrogance came into him. So that's one group of people, and they were tested through their wealth and by having more and more. And there's another group of people who are tested by loss. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about them in the Quran, where Allah ta'ala, and there's loss in different areas. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, we will definitely test you. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ literally in Arabic language means you will be put to a test. بِشَيْءٍ, a little bit. مِنَ الْخَوْفِ, there will be fear. So some people are tested by fear. And they're living this anxiety, fear, stressful life. Someone will attack them, someone will do this to them. They have everything, but they're just being, just fear, a lot of fear upon them. That they may, something will happen to them. So min al-khawfi. And some people actually go, wal-ju'i. Some people are tested because of hunger. In other words, they have absolutely nothing to eat, nothing to drink. They have nothing with them. So at that moment, when you're starving for 1 day, 2 day, you can be patient for a day, for 2 days, but 3 days, 4 days, when you don't have anything, now you're tested. Now, are you still going to say that La ilaha illallah when you don't have food for 3 days? Or are you going to question that I say La ilaha illallah, but Allah is not providing any food to me? Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. Allah provides sustenance to every creation. Where is my sustenance? So, مِنَ الْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ, and a person will be tested with loss in money. وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. There will be loss in money, wealth, there will be loss in health and life, and there will be loss in thamarat, in additional things that Allah has given us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says some people will be tested. All of a sudden they had lots of money, and suddenly something happened to their business and it went down drastically, or in fact now they're incurring a lot of debts, and they're very, very stressed out because of the loss that they're seeing. So Allah had given them so much, but it suddenly flipped and they lost. So وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ, by losing some wealth. وَالْأَنفُسِ, there will be loss in health. Some people will have good health and they will lose health. Some people will actually lose lives. So you will find that people are dying. You will find people are, our close ones. Sometimes there is an incident and suddenly, how many times we find in road accidents, people are driving and suddenly you find a family of 10 people, suddenly boom, they disappear and they're gone. So people will leave this world and people will die. وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. Businesses, people will have orchards. Those were the most common businesses that people had in those days. وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. So people will have businesses, but there will be a loss in business. So in every category, people will be tested. Now, this test that I'm talking about right now, just on a lighter note, so that you can understand, young children are sitting here, just to understand this concept here, that we will be tested. Everyone goes through a test to see whether the person is genuine or not. Whether a person is genuine or not, there's some kind of test that we go through. So young children, as young ones are sitting here, there is a case of a person who saw a beautiful girl and he started following her. Sometimes this happens, you just get attracted to a female. A man got attracted and he started following her. So, she was going, and she says, "Who are you following?" He said, "I want to talk to you. Can I get your number? Can I get your email address? Can I get some kind of contact?" And she's like, "No, go away from me." So he kept on going, and then he kept on saying as he was going, "Can you please stop? I've never seen a beautiful, more pretty girl like you. You're the most pretty girl on the earth. You're the most beautiful girl on the earth. There is no one better than you. There is no one better looking than you." So he's just bluffing whatever comes to his mind because he's just mad and attracted to, her. So, and then she stops for a moment and he's getting excited. Oh, she stopped now. So he gets excited. So she says that, "You know what? There is my sister is just on the way. And she's coming, she's right behind me. If you just go on the other side and you wait, my sister will be coming. And she's much more pretty than me, more beautiful than me, more good looking than me. Whatever you're mentioning, she's much better than me." So this guy gets excited. And he goes, "Oh yeah?" So he turns around and he starts. So she spanks with her back and says, "Until now, I was the most beautiful. And now you're going after her." So that's who? A person who is he truly in love with that girl, or is he just bluffing? So this can, obviously this girl tested the guy to see whether he was genuinely in love or was he just bluffing and attracted to her sexuality. So he basically, she tested him. Likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in various places that Allah ta'ala will also test us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. All believers, do you think that just because you say La ilaha illallah, that is sufficient and no test will come upon you? That La ilaha illallah and you will enter Jannah? Iman is not that cheap. Iman is not that cheap. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ, there will be some kind of test that we will go through. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in another place with more detail. And He says, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةِ, do you think that you people will be able to enter Jannat? وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِن قَبْلِكُمْ, and till this point, no examples have come upon you of the previous nations, of what had happened to the people in the past. What happened in the past? مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. They were faced with all kinds of hardship, all kinds of financial, physical, all kinds of hardship they were faced. To such an extent, the Prophet of that time and the people, they all said, مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, where is the help of Allah? Where is the help of Allah? In fact, Prophet ﷺ mentions under this ayat here that there was a group of people, just for them to stay on Iman, it wasn't so cheap. Just to say La ilaha illallah. We're very lucky we're living in a country here that we are able to say La ilaha illallah. But there was a time when for them to say La ilaha illallah, there would be a price tag. And the price tag would be their life. So those people who said La ilaha illallah, they would be put to a test. And the test will be such that, and they will be split into two. An iron comb, which would be heated, will be placed upon their body, and it would separate the bones and the flesh. And then two, they will still not give up their iman, and they will say La ilaha illallah. So they actually paid some price for what? La ilaha illallah. Me and you have La ilaha illallah, we're very lucky. But people, they paid price for this. And they paid huge price for that, for La ilaha illallah. Just recently, look at the Sahaba radiallahu majma'in, Bilal, Khubayb, Khabbab, all these Sahabas, they paid a price for this. Just recently, some people that I know of from northern Russia, if you look at them, Uzbekistan, if you look at Russia, in some places, obviously Russia has been broken up into different pieces. But if you look at all those small little countries who were ruled by communists, even till this point, if someone has a beard, he's a potential target. We're very, very lucky that me and you in this beautiful country in Canada were able to practice our religion with freedom. Our sisters are able to put niqab on, despite all the discussions that are taking place, but our ministers and our authorities allow us with freedom to put niqab on, to practice our rights. We have this freedom. But the brother was telling me that if he was to go back, because he's a Muslim, he would be arrested. And they are not able to pray salat. Even the most religious one in those areas, the most religious one will not be allowed to keep a beard. And for them to practice and teach Quran, they would have to do in the basements in such a way that they would have to disguise that it would be a shop, it would be a different shop altogether, but in the basement they would be teaching. But it is extremely difficult for them to practice religion and learn religion and understand religion. We are seeing this in 21st century. So as me and you are living so peacefully and practicing and praying salat, there are people in the world, they do not have this comfort. They don't have the luxury to just walk in, open the door and come and pray salat like me and you do. They actually have to go through so much. They have to put their life at great risk in order for them to pray salat. They have to put their life at great risk in order for them to say La ilaha illallah. They have to put their life at risk even for them to take their name as a Muslim name. That is the challenges that they're experiencing on daily level. But they are doing that because they understand the value of La ilaha illallah. We're very lucky that we're able to walk anytime and pray salat and no one stops us, and alhamdulillah we walk, pray salat. But just as you're doing this, there are people, even in today's time, they're going through so much hardship just to offer one prayers, and it is not easy. And honestly speaking, sometimes the local brothers are sitting here one day when I was driving, just to put things in perspective, we don't really appreciate, especially the local brothers that just walk to the masjid, you don't appreciate how much we have and we take it for granted. I remember one day I was coming from, I think, Thorncliffe, and it was Asr Salat, and Asr Salat time was getting narrow and narrow and narrow. And I was not, and it was at a point where I would have almost lost my Asr Salat if it wasn't for Marley Musalla. There was a Musalla on Marley. So I quickly went there and I prayed my Asr Salat, and within 5 minutes it was already Maghrib time. At that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this thought in my mind that Ibrahim, if this Musalla was not there, it would have cost you your Salah. You were lucky that this Musalla was there and it saved you the Salah here. So many times we have Masajid. And imagine, there are people, they have to travel 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 20 minutes drive, 15 minutes of drive, just to go for Salat. But we are able to just walk to the masjid and pray Salat. We don't realize the value for it. But there are people, they have to do so much just to make it and pray Salat. So we're very, very lucky that Allah has given us so much, but we don't realize what Allah has given us. Coming back to the same topic, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that people in the past, they were put to great test. Then too, they said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. So today's time, we find a lot of people, they're going through hardship and difficulty. But insha'Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by virtue of this difficulty, Allah will expiate all their shortcomings and Allah will grant them Jannat without any reckoning, insha'Allah. So, in fact, it comes in one narration, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that the person who will have Iman at the time of fitna and trials and tribulations is like the person who is carrying Qabil, who is carrying what? Jamara. You know what Jamara is? Charcoals. Those red burning charcoals. You can't touch them. They're very hot. But those charcoals, so a person, for him to practice his religion, he will be like a person who is carrying that charcoal with him. That burning charcoal, red burning charcoal. Not those cold ones. Burning charcoal, red ones. Carrying that. That's how difficult it will be for people to practice the religion. So we find many narrations like that. The signs, there are so many signs of Qiyamah that Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned, and maybe one or two we will discuss that. But the point I'm making here to answer the question is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test us. But under any circumstances, our Iman should be so strong that even if we are tried, even if someone causes inconvenience to us, we will still say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. We know the very famous story, Ashabul Ukhdud. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran about them, right? Ashabul Ukhdud. The story is very long, but in that story, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. People of Ukhdud, there's actually a cartoon on that as well. And there's a whole story on that, which is depicted in the form of cartoon. Ashabul Ukhdud. So Ashabul Ukhdud were the people of trench. Allah mentions in Surah Al-Buruj about them. And the story is very long, but just to give you an idea, in that story we find that for them to be believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were actually put into the fire. The trench, Ashabul Ukhdud, they were put into the fire. And to such an extent that one mother, it's in Sahih Muslim, the narration, that one mother, she had a child, infant, who was very, very young. And she was very scared. Mother, she can give up her life, but she will not be able to give up the life of her child. Because the child is more beloved to who? To the mother than her own self. You know that, right? The mother, she will risk her own life, but she will never want to see the even slightest harm. You people really don't know how much your mother cares for you. But if you look at, if you really want to understand, I'll give you one example. That, mothers, they really care for us. They love us, but we can't see their love. It is mentioned, but Qadi Iyas, but I don't know if it was Qadi Iyas rahmatullahi alayh, in back in those days. It is mentioned that two women, they came to one of the Qadi and they were fighting over a child, and both of them were claiming that the child belongs to them. So how can you make that judgment? Nowadays we can, we'll probably resort to what? DNA? Take DNA samples and see exactly who it belongs to. So that time they had, mashallah, great intelligence. So two women, they come to the Qadi and they start fighting over who it belongs to. So Qadi, I believe it was Qadi Iyas rahmatullahi alayh. So he says that, okay, you say this is yours and you say this is yours, one child. I have a solution. What's the solution? Go bring a knife. Right? Is that the solution, Shahid? Bring a knife, cut it into two and give it to them too. What kind of judge is he? So that's what he did. I mean, he didn't do that, but what he did was he told the person, okay, bring a knife, let me put this into two. So one woman cried out and said, no, I don't want the child. Don't hurt the child, give the child to that person. I don't want the child, give the child away to that person. But don't touch the child with a knife. So the person who said was a true mother. Because she can tolerate that the child can go to someone else, but the mother cannot tolerate that the child be hurt. Right? So Qadi Iyas wanted to see the sentiments of the two women. So that woman who cried out and said that give the child to that woman, I don't want it. Obviously she was a true mother. So again, obviously the mother, they have lots of love and respect for their own children. So one mother, she was reluctant to put herself into the fire simply because she had a child. So there are few individuals who spoke in the cradle. Three of them are famous. There is about 10 of them that Ibn Hajar Asqalani rahmatullahi alayhi mentions. But three are very popular. Does anyone know who those three are? There are three infants that actually spoke in the cradle, meaning that they were very young. They were like, only 1 month or even less than that. Maybe 2 days, 3 days old. And they spoke in the cradle. Does anyone know who they are? The first one everyone should know. Very good. قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. It was Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. And the second one is this person here we're talking about. This one here, that this mother who was reluctant to put herself into the fire, that child who was a few days old, speaks. And obviously a child who's only a few days old cannot speak. So he spoke and said, "Oh mother, put your trust in Allah and put me and yourself into the fire, and we will get Jannah." So when he said that, the child said that, she went inside. And they all went inside. And they sacrificed their life for the sake of Allah. They were burnt. They sacrificed themselves for the sake of Allah. So that's two. And the third one is who? Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. There's Yusuf alayhi salam. Another one that's in Sahih Bukhari. Anyone remembers that? No one remembers. We will talk about him in detail. Sahibul Jurayj. Rings a bell? No. No one. Sahibul Jurayj. Oh, we have to talk about that. Inshallah, one day it's a long story, and when you talk about that subject, we will talk about that. Sahibul Jurayj. Jurayj was well known for what? Ibadat and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one day his mother became upset because he would never visit him, pay respect to her. So the story is very long. So in that story, there's one child that also spoke and said, Jurayj is not guilty of any illicit affairs, that kind of stuff. So anyways, that is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari as well. It's a very famous narration, and there's a lot of morals that we can take from that narration. Coming back to the same topic here. So these people, Allah Ta'ala mentioned, وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ. All those people who gave their life, the only thing that they said was, La ilaha illallah, nothing else. So in today's time, I know sometimes we become very emotional. If someone says something negative to us, if someone spits on us, or someone says something, then this is something not, completely unusual. Sahaba radiallahu majma'in, they were tortured. So if someone spat on us, someone says something bad to us because we are Muslim, we should not be aggressive with them, violent with them. Rather, we should respect them and try dealing with them with hikmat and wisdom. That's very difficult. I know if someone swears at you and then you want to control your temper and you want to be nice to the guy, I know it's very difficult. But let me share one story with you. I don't know where I shared, but I have shared this story in this program, one of the programs before, but I'll share this story again. That we will find incidents where because we say La ilaha illallah, because we are Muslims, someone will come out, maybe they're seeing all the things in the media, so they will say, okay, this guy's got this, skull cap, that's what they call it, right? It actually took me a day or two to figure out what skull cap was. I'm thinking skull, and then the cap, I'm like, what is it? And I couldn't figure out that it was, actually a topi. I'm so used to topi. So they call it skull cap. So, if you're wearing a skull cap, or you're wearing a hijab, so all these, things you're wearing, and, someone will come to you and, call you, things, statements that, obviously are very offensive, and you may not like it, especially in the civil society. But again, we should not be too rude and aggressive. There was a story of a person, this happened in America. I think this happened last year or when, but I received the story. So in that story, we find a woman. She goes to a coffee shop. When she goes to a coffee shop, she was by the counter. She bought some food, and she was at the counter waiting in the line. And there was a person who was ahead of him. And this person was extremely rude. Very, very rude to the person. To who? That hijabi sister. And he started saying, you terrorist, and you this, and you that, and you that. He said whatever he had to say. Whatever he had in his mind, he took everything out on her. So what happened is, he comes to the counter, he is at the counter, he comes to the cashier, and he's checking everything in, and after that the cashier tells him that this is your bill, X amount of dollars. So typical, Americans, Canadians, what do? We take our credit cards out, right? Everything is always on credit, right? So he takes a credit card out and gives it to the cashier. She swipes it, doesn't work. So gets another one, swipes it. People carry 2-3 credit cards. So he's swiping all of them, and they're not working. So now this guy got frustrated. He's really frustrated. One is the hijabi sister is getting him frustrated because he can't look at a woman with a hijab on. And the second thing, his own credit cards are not working. So frustration after frustration for this guy here. So who's going to come to the rescue here? So what happened was, this hijabi sister, what she does is, so the guy went, he left everything, and he just walked out. So what she does is, she says that, all this food that he's left here, take this, money here, and, give it to that guy. So, and then she takes it and gives it. And he was, and his family were still sitting in that, lounge where they eat. And she takes it and he gives it. And this left, such a big shock in people's mind that man and the family, they were flabbergasted, they were speechless, they were completely, they were taken off guard. They didn't know, how could a woman who was being ridiculed and she was being, told all these, negative things, bad things, bigotry statements, how could a woman, do something like this? She spent the money upon this guy here, and so what happened was, she left such a good taste of Muslims that everyone actually stood up in that lounge who was, was enjoying coffee, and they all clapped hands, and they were thanking this, sister here. Now look at this here. At one moment, and this person here had no words to actually thank that hijabi sister, right? One possibility was that this hijabi woman could have said exactly the same thing, but she didn't do that. What did she do? إِدْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. She practiced upon the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we can start doing, what are these words here? Beautiful words that we need to keep in today's time. She practiced upon these words, and she created an opportunity. It was an opportunity was created for her to show the best of characters of Islam. So what does she do? She says, she practiced upon the words of Allah. What are the words of Allah? Idfa' billati. Remove, repel the evil. With what? Hiya allati hiya ahsan. In the best way possible. Not in a negative way. In the best way possible. Any negativity, any evil that comes to you, remove that. And if you do it in the best way possible, فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ, spontaneously, إِذَا in Arabic language comes from mufaja'ah. If you guys understand what that means. Means suddenly. Suddenly, meaning it's not like there will be any delay in it. Right away, Allah will change the conditions of the hearts in your favor to such an extent that that same animosity and hatred that existed between you two will change within a split second, and you will have that mutual love. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. A very, very close friend. And that is exactly what this sister did. She was silent. She did not use her words. Rather, she took the opportunity. This man didn't have the money to pay his food. She pays it for him, and he enjoys the food. And she did, good, she demonstrated good hospitality. As a result of that, obviously that person had a very good image. Not only him, everyone had a good image. So sometimes, please don't take it in the wrong context. But sometimes what happens is something bad happens. But even though something bad happens, it becomes opportunity for someone. Do you understand what I'm saying? Something bad happens, but it becomes opportunity for someone. For example, someone got into an accident. Now obviously it's bad. The guy is, he's fighting for his life. But again, it's an opportunity for who? The doctors, for surgeons. What are the surgeons going to do? They have to operate on someone. They're not just going to operate on mouse or something like that. They want to become more real now. Right? So it becomes an opportunity for who? For the doctors, for the surgeons, for the specialists, for different people. And this guy is, fighting for his life. So again, it's a tragedy for someone, but it will become opportunity for someone. In the same context, that we know the incident that happened in Paris is very bad. It should not have happened. And the name of Islam being attached to it, this is something very ugly, and the name of Islam should never be attached to it. But again, it has been created in the world. Islam, Islam, Islam. So for us, it becomes even more a greater opportunity for us now, that we show good characters. Islam is on spotlight. People want to see who Islam is. So if we are Abdullah, if we are Yusuf, people are going to judge us based on our name and our Islam, even though we will not be practicing. That is why the onus is on every single person that's sitting here and that is listening, that we use this ayat, idfa' billati hiya ahsan. We show beautiful characters. Our neighbors who we may have not talked to for years and years. Who knows what's coming into their mind when they're watching TV and the media and all the different things and the social media which is out there. And you're right next door to them. And you don't know. And you might be thinking, he's just your friend and whatnot. But you don't know what he's thinking of you. And he may never express it in front of you. But, you should take this opportunity of maybe sharing some kind of gift, a small gift. And maybe that will open up a good conversation and you can have a dialogue, you can understand. So respected brothers and sisters, sometimes, incidents happen, but they become opportunity as well at the same time. So for us at this moment here, it's an opportunity for all of us that we display the beautiful characters which are told to us, which are given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and practically demonstrated by Allah, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba radiyallahu majma'in. There are numerous characters like that. I think what we need to do is we need to display those characters. I will just mention one more story that I mentioned in Friday program. I was actually Maulana Muhammad Badat. We were having a discussion the other day, and he said one thing, and I will mention one hadith and I will wrap it up. He mentions that where his house is in Ottawa, right next to his house is a condominium. The whole big new a project of condominium which is coming up there. So there are a lot of workers there, construction workers. They're all working, and the foreman approaches them and says that you're a Muslim, you're this here, and he says, yes, I am a Muslim. But he goes that you Muslims are like that, your Muslims are like that. The typical image that people have through the media. So he says that what you are hearing and what you are seeing is not exactly what the image is, what the reality is. Let me tell you. But he didn't understand much. So Maulana Muhammad, he changes his tone, and he says, you know what, tomorrow the lunch is on me. I will give all of you lunch. So all your crew members, come and let's just have lunch together. So people love food. Food is something that you can win people's heart over. So he provides a lunch to everyone, and they all eat. And then Maulana Muhammad himself says that after that, the tone of that same person who came to him was so different, and he was so receptive. Before, he was very defensive, but now he became more receptive, and he was ready to understand the message of who the Shaykh. So sometimes we have to play, obviously, that's what Allah Ta'ala mentioned, hiya allati ahsan. What are the best way possible? So again, as our community, Abu Bakr radiallahu an, we know I mentioned that in Friday program today, for Jummah khutbah, when he was being driven out, Ibn Daghina approaches him and says, مِثْلُكَ لَا يَخْرُجْ وَلَا يُخْرَجْ. A person like you cannot leave, neither can you be driven away. Why? إِنَّكَ لَتَصِلُ الرَّحِمِ. You're the one who build ties. There are people that are breaking ties, but you're the one who build ties. وَتَكْسِبُ الْمَعْدُومِ. And you are the one who not only earns money for yourself, but you actually go out and earn money for the disabled ones. Can someone do that? Whenever you make your budget at home, do you ever picture the people that are disabled and people are not working? I have to look after them as well. Does anyone think like that? Nowadays, we don't even think of our close family members who are disabled looking after them. But Abu Bakr radiallahu anh was one of those individuals, taksibul ma'doom, the ones that are disabled, the ones that are handicapped, those that are not able to look after themselves, he would be earning for them. Taksibul ma'doom wa taqri al-dayf. And he was the one, any individual, in today's time we become so suspicious of one another. But Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, any individual that would be coming to his community, his masjid, his area, he would be hosting them. And he would be looking after them. Hospitality was very, very common. So وَتَقْرِي الضَّيْفِ, it's a very good, a practice, hospitality. See, he was very hospitable. And he was not hostile, he was hospitable. And وَتُعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ. And Abu Bakr, how can you leave this place? Because you are the same one who looks after any natural disasters or any crisis that take place or that occurs. You are the first one there to help the people. That was a practice of Abu Bakr. Now look at these practices of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh versus the statements that were made in the subway and the statement, I believe, in Flemington, in one wall I saw the picture of it where it said that you go home, you Muslims, you people are terrorists, and go home. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was also told the same thing. But there were wise people and they said, hey, you're a great asset to our community, you're going to be staying in our community. So like that, we have to prove ourselves. We have been saying so much. As Muslims, we've been saying so much that, Islam is a great religion. It's a fantastic religion. It is this. But it's time that we show our good characters. This will translate into da'wah. This will become a message of da'wah for people. It will become a means of acceptance. Just 2013 report. How many celebrities accepted Islam? Do you know that? How many celebrities? I'm talking about the people that were working in Hollywood. It's all on YouTube. People in Hollywood who used to do, some were dancers, some were actresses, with all these different things. In 2013, Even after incidents taking place, people are still accepting Islam. Because genuine people are approaching them, they're getting the message, and in their interview, they say that we had the most negative feeling about Islam when someone genuinely, sincerely explained to us in the best way possible what Islam is. Immediately we want to put the hijab on. Immediately we want to come into Islam. This is exactly what our religion is. So respected brothers, like person like me, and maybe some of you also, we listen so much. But the problem is very few people, I didn't get a chance to read a story right now. I don't know if that person is Muslim or not. But someone just before Jummah Salat brought one newspaper, I think it was Metro, and two couples, they got married. Apparently they don't look Muslim, but two couples, they got married. And what they did was, they made their marriage extremely simple. Their wedding ceremony and the whole, the whole function that we have, we have, what? $10,000? No, not even $10,000. What is it, about 15, 20? At least $20,000, $30,000, the budget that we have with the hall and all the stuff that goes with it, the whole package. Anyone that gets engaged, anyone that gets married, the first thing in your mind is, your wedding will never take place until you have a hall and all the works with it. That's our mentality. And we spend about 30, 40,000. So there's an article, I wanted to read that, it's in the newspaper, I hope someone doesn't take it from an office. But there's an article there where they've got a picture of the two couples. They did a very simple marriage, and they saved up all that money that they were supposed to spend on a lavish hall, etc. They saved all that money, and what they're going to be doing, they will be sponsoring a family from Syria, the refugees. Just imagine this. What a great work they're doing. This is what we call وَتُعِينٌ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ. This is what you call you're helping humanity. And you're looking after them. They could have been selfish, just pomp and show and showing off, taking pictures and getting, hiring all the photographers and all the different people and showing off, look, our weddings and, just as, all that pomp and show which takes place for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and after that it's just fights, the typical marriages that are happening today. But no, these people here, they said, let's make our marriage simple, which Islam teaches as well. And the additional money we have, we will help someone who doesn't have a shelter. We will help someone who doesn't have a home or who does not have food to eat. This is very good thinking. And they are praised and glorified in the newspapers. So respected brothers, this was the teaching of Islam. وَتُعِينُ عَلَى نَوَائِبِ الْحَقِّ. And if you look at all these four things that I mentioned to you right now, in all these four things, does it mention that, Abu Bakr, you cannot be driven out because you pray good salat? By the way, he was very close to Allah. And he was a very pious person. He used to pray lots of salat and lots of additional prayers as well. But does it mention that? Does it mention that, Abu Bakr, you fast a lot, you do this here? No. Because your Islam and my Islam, John, Jerry, Jack, whoever it may be, will not judge your Islam by your ibadat and your worship. They will judge your Islam based on the characters that we have. And that is exactly what we need today. And that will, inshallah, will become a means of da'wah. So before I conclude this talk here, listen to these words. And if you can listen to these words, inshallah, today's program will be extremely successful. That every action, whenever you have interaction with people, whenever you mix in the society, any action that you display your action with the niyat of sunnat. That's first thing. Because my Prophet ﷺ had good characters, I will display good characters. The second thing is, my good characters will not be to make headlines in the newspaper. Rather, my good characters will be for the sake of Allah and for the purpose of da'wah. For the purpose of what? Da'wah. It will be a means of da'wah. And if you do this, inshallah, Allah can make any of us. Even a young child can become a means of hidayat for so many people. And there are tons of stories like that. So anything that we do, as a Muslim, so let's say, Muhammad is going to school and he's a Muslim. So he should display beautiful characters, and inshallah, teacher will be inspired by that. You're working in your factory. Show beautiful characters. Do not cheat. Don't lie. Don't do these kind of things here. Show that Muslims are valuable, right? Obviously, there are cases where Muslims are being, are having problem, racial profiling. Many things are happening. But if we show good characters, I think the people that are above us, and I think the society, they will be able to understand us much better. And alhamdulillah, in this country here, in this place here, we have tons and tons of Muslims. The only thing is that, remember, we are on spotlight. So just like when you're on TV, what are you going to do when you're on TV? You're going to be careful. You're going to make sure you don't have any, you're going to make sure you have, your hair is not wild. Even me, I'm not going to put my hair all over like this, because I know I'm on spotlight, TV right there. So I'm going to make sure that, I look a little decent. I don't look, all over and like wild and here and there. So like that, every one of us are on spotlight right now. And everyone is, wants to see us as a true Muslim and not a Muslim, back home Muslim with different cultures that we have. So I know we are Muslims, but we come from different background, different ethnicity. People that come from India, they have their own cultures with them. People come from Pakistan, they also have their own culture with them when they practice their characters. We want to practice Islam as Islam, the way Prophet ﷺ has told us, and not the way our culture. Because in culture there are many things that happen, and sometimes they're just totally ridiculous and not even worth mentioning. So we will inshallah practice upon the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and with the intention of da'wah, and inshallah this will be means of hidayah for others. May Allah ta'ala give all of us understanding. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma lakal hamdu kulluhu wa lakal shukru kulluhu wa ilayka yarju al-amru kulluhu. Allahumma la nuhsi thana'an alayka anta kama athnayta ala nafsik. Wallah, pardon our sins. Wallah, forgive our sins. Wallah, across the globe, Ya Allah, we find, Ya Allah, many people that are going through extreme difficulty and hardship. Ya Allah, there are people, Ya Allah, who do not even have shelter. Ya Allah, provide them with shelter. Ya Allah, those that do not have food, Ya Allah, please, Ya Allah, provide them with food. Ya Allah, there are many of those, Ya Allah, who do not even have fresh water to drink and quench the thirst. Ya Allah, make it easy for them. Ya Allah, there are many, Ya Allah, across the globe, Ya Allah, who have lost their parents, Ya Allah, and they want to reunite with their parents and their families. Ya Allah, make it easy for them. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, you have blessed us so much. Ya Allah, in every way, Ya Allah, you have blessed us. Ya Allah, we are living such a peaceful life in this country here. Ya Allah, we are able to practice your religion, Ya Allah, in this beautiful country. Ya Allah, make it easy for us. Ya Allah, let us be able to, Ya Allah, practice more and more of your religion. Let us be able to worship, Ya Allah, you more and more. Ya Allah, make it easy for every one of us. Wa Allah, keep this country, this place, Ya Allah, peaceful. Ya Allah, likewise, Ya Allah, all the other places, Ya Allah, where there are wars and Ya Allah, many different incidents taking place. Ya Allah, make it easy for them. Ya Allah, fill this world with peace. Ya Allah, fill this world with peace. Ya Allah, make us closer to you. Ya Allah, whenever we practice, Ya Allah, whenever we show our characters in the society, let us be able to display the best of characters. Ya Allah, let us become the true ambassadors of Islam. Let us become the true ambassadors of Islam. Wa Allah, let us become the true Khalifa of Islam. Wa Allah, many of Ya Allah, the friends, Ya Allah, that had come from different places in this gathering here, Ya Allah, accept their coming here. Ya Allah, accept their muhabbat. Wa Allah, accept our dua. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.